Born alone and left to die, rejected, often criticized, hid behind the childhood eyes. Everything has changed since the blood. Yes, it has. Since the blood. Since the blood. Oh, the blood. Born alone and left to die, rejected, often criticized, hid behind those childhood eyes. Everything's changed since the blood.
Falling on us.
Since the blood.
It gave me purpose.
Since the blood.
It says he's for us.
Oh, the blood.
Who can be against us?
Hopeless, falling from the air, reaching but no hand is there. Screaming quiet, no one cares. I might as well have died, but the blood.
Falling on us.
But the blood.
It gave me purpose.
But the blood.
It says you're for us.
Oh, the blood.
Who can be against us?
Oh.
Oh, the cleansing power that takes the guilt away. The Lamb was sacrificed. Now we no longer fear the grave.
No more condemnation.
No more condemnation. The debt of man is paid by the blood.
By the blood.
But for the blood, by the blood, but for the blood, now we are never alone. Your blood, it makes us strong. Now there is power to move on. Never, we are never alone. We are never alone. Your blood, it makes us strong. Now there is power to move on. Never, we are never alone. Bruising my shoulders with the weight of the world on me. Still I'll be waiting. Your salvation is a nearing. Arito monditinga. Is there resting for the weary and the worrisome? Here in your arms I am secure, and until
So my name is Penina Wangari Mathenge. I am a mother of 2 boys, Daniel and Baraka. I first heard about the Free the Future and first fruit during the first gathering that we had at Hill City. And that is really the first time that I understood what first fruit was all about. And then I thought about, what is that first fruit going to be? I had just left my job. I've been working in the humanitarian sector, working with international organizations and the UN. And I had left a place where I earned quite well. And I thought, what would my first fruit then be? So first it was difficult. I was like, wow, this to me is huge when I don't have a job, but I'm still going to write it. So there is this thing of, I was also expecting that, Lord, you will multiply this 1,000,000 times, and I waited. It was a wait. I'm in the business of selling children stuff, toys, and anything that amuses children. I was also looking to open a second shop. So I was interested in a particular place along Mombasa Road, and I called the supervisor of the premises, and she asked me to go and see those particular ones. So I went there, I saw them, and I didn't quite like them. But she said, there's also another one in Kitengela, so if you can come along with me. There are 2 big companies that are big brands that are interested. If they are there, then you will know that they have taken the shops. If they are not, then we can talk about it. So when we got there, we found that they were already doing the designs for the shops, and I knew I was a bit discouraged because it's a prime place. But while I was there, I looked at the 3 shops, at the shops that they were doing the designs, and I asked her, are they taking the 3 shops? And she told me they are not 3 shops, they are only 2 shops. And I said, but I can see 3 shops. And I told her, it's this shop and this shop and this shop. And she said, no, I couldn't actually see 3 shops. I could only see 2 shops. You're still interested in this one because it's smaller than the other? And I said, yeah, this is just enough. This is really enough for what I really want. And that's how I got that shop. She had not seen it. So I remembered what Pastor said, no eye has seen, no ear will have heard, no mind will have imagined what the Lord has in store for us. So that's how I got it. So yeah, for me, my testimony is about acceleration. And for anyone out there who is still thinking about, what is this first fruit thing? What is this Free the Future business? It works. I don't know how, just the way I cannot explain to you how the engine of a car works, but it works. It works for speed in business. It works for blessings and breakthroughs. It works for spiritual growth, and it just works because also that's God's promise. So I would encourage someone out there who's still thinking about whether this is the right thing to do, to just do it and obey.
Some of you, when you think about it, you have lots of regrets when it comes to money, and I know that's a big one. Whenever we talk about money, there are people who find themselves in places of regret. If only I was able to get a degree. If only my family had, my dad had been better at managing money. If only my family had the resources. But I want to say to you today that in life, it's not how well you start. It's who you are, whose you are that counts. Who's with you that counts. And so I want to encourage you. You know what? This has nothing to do with background. Joseph's background, from a prisoner to a prime minister, it was in the hands of God. And God has your situation in his hands. Now I want us to examine Joseph's plan, because I mean this thing that Joseph says to Pharaoh, it is so powerful. It is so powerful, and it is a thing that will eliminate financial stress from all our lives if we could just understand it and follow it. And this is a principle that Joseph is trying to teach to Pharaoh and his people, and it is this: after abundance comes famine. After abundance comes famine. That is the natural order of things in life. Abundance is always followed by famine. And so wise people must always prepare. The problem with most of us is is not that we don't work hard. It's not that we don't work hard. The problem is that we consume whatever comes into our hands. We consume. We've been taught that whatever we work for, we eat it. And we work hard. We're hard workers. But we use the hard-earned money to buy a lifestyle that will not help us in the future. Now, I'm not even just talking individually. This is the way the world works. It is worldwide. Whether you're in the West, whether you're in Africa, wherever you are, this is the way of the world. And the net result is that we end up looking prosperous, but no one could guess, looking at us, that we're on the track to retirement poverty, and that we will not be able to build generational wealth. There's a great philosopher. His name was Seneca. He was a Roman. And he reputedly said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Because you're saying, oh my goodness, that person is so lucky. They were born in that family of that I didn't have. It happens when preparation meets opportunity. And the question you really need to be asking yourself is, am I prepared for opportunity? Am I prepared for opportunity? Now, there are many reasons why Christians fail to take advantage of opportunity. There are many reasons why Christians don't take advantage of time and chance. And I'm going to introduce you to 5 groups of Christians, and I'm going to ask you to see if you fit any of these Christians when it comes to the category, the opportunities God has given you financially. 5 groups of Christians. Number 1, the busy Christian. The busy Christian. These are the ones who are so busy trying to hold their lives together, they have little time to think about investments or matters economic. They figure it's just not my season. Maybe when I'm less busy, maybe when I'm less broke, maybe when I have more time. Any busy people? DG group name, but Persis was first on YouTube.
Yeah,
and so just giving shout out to Persis.
Come on, Persis. Yeah, come on, Persis.
So good to see Persis back in form. I think the time she had fallen out of form. And then, of course, next to her is Godwin Dazzle Mutai.
Come on. Who is that?
Like, I don't even know that guy. He sounds familiar. So good to see you, Pastor Godi. I can see Eric Kimunyu from Mavuno 360 Blossoms Discipleship Group in the house.
Yeah.
So good. I know Pastor Godwin is in a group called Zuberi Discipleship Group, and I know Persis is in a group called the Dog Ate My Homework Discipleship Group. Like, I don't know, Persis, you need to tell us if that's a real name or just something you made up. So those are the top 3 people on YouTube today.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so the top 3 on Facebook are Wilson E. Owor from Mashariki.
Come on, Wilson.
From Kaya DG. Then there is Jay Ngoha from Mavuno Dawn Home.
Nice,
oh my
nice,
goodness.
nice.
And then Purity Kibuki, Mashariki.
Hey,
Yeah,
so that's
top
like
3.
1, 2,
top
3.
3.
Like a clean sweep, that's what it's called.
Yeah, that
I love
is
it.
so good.
Mashariki is in the house. We love it. Hey guys, welcome to Family Night, and this is a night when we just love to come together as a family, as a church, Mavuno family, just to talk a bit about the things that God is telling us. It's a time of instruction, a time of impartation. And with us today is actually a very special group. It's our discipleship group, Club Fearless.
Club Fearless. Club Fearless.
And so we're in the house together, and we're so excited to be able to just lead this time together. And yeah, it's so good to see you on YouTube, on Facebook, just to see everybody's checking in and they're ready, and there's so many of you already. Just check there.
put a message on your DG, your discipleship group space, and just tell guys, it's time, and don't miss out. Today is going to be sizzling, it's going to be hot. We're all in the house and we're looking forward to this.
Yeah, that's so true.
So I can see quite a few. I can see Naomi Bugigi from Seekers Discipleship Group, Hill City. By the way, are guys in Hill City, do they have like a big screen when you're not there, Pastor James? Or do you just bounce your people? Like, do they have to watch on their phones? Huh? They watch at home. Oh, come on. We need to have big screen watch parties in. Yeah, we
And
need to have
some tea and mandazi.
and tea and mandazis. Kelvin Mugambi Wayakiwe is in the house. And then I can see Josephine Agufana, Hill City represented.
Wow.
So there's quite a few people there.
Okay. I have, come on, Facebook has, what does it say about Facebook?
Just
The
say-
people
just
want to, anyway,
don't say it.
they're not here. Anyway,
to do this on
actually, they don't
Instagram, by
know.
the way.
Yeah, oh my goodness. So I have Purity Kibuki, who had mentioned from Mashariki.
Yep.
And then we have Emmanuel Gashanja
Come on,
representing
Pastor Emmanuel. So good.
MDT. MDT.
So good,
Yep.
Pastor Geshok. And then I had to get to Silas and DT from Mavuno Nakuru.
Yeah,
just to
Pastor
mention,
Sai.
just to put them there. Nakuru is locked. And then Wamboi Kagwe from downtown.
MDT.
Downtown used to be like top 3. I don't know what happened. Downtown, please pull up your socks, guys. What's happening here? Jalusene Augustine from Mavuno Gateway and Tebe is in the house.
Oh, nice.
So good to see you. And then Bob Collins from Coffee Zone Discipleship Group, repping Lifeway Campus. I'm not sure what, like I've always liked that name, Coffee Zone. So I don't know if Coffee Zone, is it like a place?
It's a restaurant.
Oh.
The DG leader is the owner of the restaurant.
So they meet in the restaurant?
Yes, yes.
That is so awesome.
How cool is that?
Man, you guys, one of you needs to own a restaurant. I mean,
Come on, at some point to eat.
like we can become the, yeah, so I love it. So great to see everybody's in the house, and we're still setting up. So if you see the lights looking a bit funny, don't worry. Our team is got it locked. So today I just want to give a big special shout out to all our visitors. If it's your first time at Family Night, it's so good to have you. Welcome to Family Night. And like I said, it's a place of teaching and instruction for the Mavuno family. And this is a time when we get deeper. It's a time when we move beyond the crowd and we get into the core. And we just talk about the things that God has put in our hearts as your leaders. And just the things that the place that God is leading us and moving us into.
Yeah.
And so that's what's been going on. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm excited.
Excited.
Yeah, so it's so good to see everybody in the house. And for our visitors also, let me just say, after Family Night, that's when we normally have discipleship group meetings. And so if you're not in a discipleship group, please just let us know. We'd love to put you in a discipleship group in a campus near you. And even if you're not near a campus, there are online discipleship groups. We'd love to put you in one of those. And it's just a way for you to get into deeper community. It's not just about being in a crowd. It's about being part of a community. And so that's what's up. Today we're going to be talking about how you prepare, how the wise prepare.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's what we were talking about on Sunday. We talked about how the wise prepare. After abundance comes famine, so the wise prepare. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Let me just also mention before we start, I'm just making these updates because this is the last time, this is the last month we're talking about Free the Future. But for all the Mavuno people, Free the Future, end of September, we're going to stop making announcements. If you want to keep giving after that, you can. But one of the reasons we want to stop making the announcements is because we actually want to, this is a conviction God has laid on our hearts. We actually want to tithe out of the amounts that we've raised for our Hill City campus. Whether it's enough or not, we're just going to trust God and tithe out of it and bless another ministry or bless other ministries with it. And so that's why we're pushing for the end of this month so that we can actually, out of what we've collected, we can now just do a distribution. And so if you have not completed your Free the Future yet, we're asking you to just trust God, take a step of faith, do what you got to do, and let's just trust God that we can close this part and then we can start preparing, because I believe that God is going to challenge us to keep growing in our generosity. Paul talks about, as you've grown in everything else, grow in your generosity. And so we want to just keep growing as a church in just becoming a generous people. So that's what's up with Free the Future. So I'm not even going to go into the usual numbers with that. But hey, this last Saturday we had the gathering at Hill City.
Goodness.
Yeah, we had a Hill City gathering, and my goodness, all these guys were there. It was all of us.
it was so
We had it at Hill City. By the way, there are people from Mavuno who are just hungry, because people came from other campuses. They were like, it's a Hill City thing, but I know there's a blessing for me. So we had people just crossing across town just to be there. And yeah, it was fantastic. Pastor Jemo, I mean, you need to tell us about the gathering and what some of the aftermath of that.
was so amazing. We had about 150 people present.
Wow.
And there was just such a move of God. It was incredible just sitting, learning, hearing what God is teaching us and His word for us in this season.
Yeah.
And it's been incredible. And there are a number of things that, that I think Pastor M, our senior pastor, challenged us to. And it's been very exciting just seeing people stepping up and saying, I want to serve,
doing
I'm
this.
available,
Yeah.
I want to be fruitful. It's been amazing seeing many more cameras on during 4:30 prayers.
Yeah, that's nice.
So it's been an incredible time.
Yeah.
And I think I've shared this with Pastor M. I don't know if I've shared with these guys, but anytime we have a gathering at Hill City, like the next Sunday is always just lit. So I love hosting the movement. So we had an incredible ministry day on Sunday as well.
Wow.
It's just amazing. It's been exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
thank
such a
God.
highlight, such a
It really
great
was.
day.
Yeah.
And it was easy. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't feel forced. It just
Yeah.
felt like God was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were fasting, so He got away with not feeding us.
I know.
Oh, but actually, you know what? It was so crazy because I've never taught a whole day when we were fasting.
fasting,
Like we've never done a gathering when we were fasting.
That's true.
I thought it was going to be really hard.
Yeah.
But
Me too.
surprisingly, it was the easiest we've ever done.
Yeah.
It's like guys aren't sleepy,
Yeah.
like after a big ugali, like at lunchtime. So everybody's kind of alert. It was amazing.
We would recommend it.
We hear you.
Sheila doesn't need.
There are people who are not laughing.
We hear you. Yeah. So that's what happened. And then this coming week, we're actually going to be in Kigali.
Yeah.
And so there's a gathering in Kigali, not this weekend, but the weekend after,
Yeah.
the 25th weekend. And so it's going to be a full day that Sunday. And so if you're near Kigali, by the way, you guys in Uganda, Kigali is like next door. Catch a bus, do something.
on.
Let's rock up in Kigali and just do this gathering. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then the weekend after that, we're going to be in Berlin. So, okay, that one's a bit farther. So,
Yeah.
and then Nakuru as well on
Yeah.
that same weekend. And so some of you may say, Berlin's a bit far this year, let me go to Nakuru. But then after that, we'll rock up
Next year.
in Berlin next year.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in any one of these, talk to your campus pastor and just let them know. We'd love to have you come along with us. And let's just go represent. Let's just go and impart and have a good time in the Lord's presence. I think this is going to be just a fantastic month.
It's going to be.
So that's what's happening. So yeah, so this month we're going through a series called Money Walks, and today I kind of just wanted to have a free-flowing conversation with these pastors, these friends of ours, and just talk a bit about how we're applying the stuff that we learned this weekend. Because I mean, we learned, if you guys remember, we learned about this guy called Joseph,
Yeah.
and how God just warns him about this famine that's coming. And he comes up with this brilliant idea where he says, then the whole nation must go into a savings culture.
Yeah.
And we talked about why a savings culture is so brilliant. You know, you're preparing for that rainy day. There's so many other things. I mean, you're managing expenses. So you're actually paying for your things. It's actually always cheaper to save and buy than to borrow and pay.
Yeah.
I don't know, people just don't get it. It's just delayed gratification. Of course, the thing about borrowing and paying means that I get it now.
That's right.
But that thing of getting it now is what's actually putting holes in our pockets, you know? So just teaching ourselves delayed gratification, it's always cheaper. Enjoying financial freedom, that whole thing about passive income. We've talked about that with you guys. The fact that, you know, at the end of your working life, you want to be in a place where you can afford the same lifestyle that you have right now without working. Because you wouldn't guarantee that you wouldn't have the same energy. Okay, I know some of you think you'll be Moses, and at 120 years you'll still be, you'll be Caleb.
Caleb at 85.
Climbing the mountain.
But you know, I know very saved people who are not like that. So chances are your bodies will be weaker. And at that point, you want to be in a place where you're not working for the money is working for you. You're working for love. And actually, you don't even have to wait till retirement. If you start early enough, you can actually get to a place where you're not working for the salary. You're working because you love what you're doing. So that's what now that financial freedom thing is about. And then entering into blessing, where you can be generous.
That's true.
Because we talked about the fact that we need to move into that place where we're moving from concern to compassion. You can be so concerned about all the poor children, all those widows, all those things, but you can't do anything about it. So what is the use of concern? People can't eat concern. And so it's like you have to be able to be in a place where you can actually become generous. So those are the things that I think because of that, we saw that in all those things, Joseph was able to prepare Egypt. So that they were as a nation there. It's very interesting. I mean, and our president-elect in his first speech, he made some radical statements, which I just kept thinking, if the government applies like a quarter of the things this guy has promised, like Kenya will be very far ahead.
That's
But one of the things he talked about is how do you stop funding consumption and fund, production. How do you start actually building a savings culture and not a debt culture? Man, I kept saying hallelujah. I was just like, this guy is preaching my sermon for me.
Yeah.
Even nations have to use
16%.
discipline. I mean, it's not just because the world thinks you have to borrow, you have to borrow, you have to borrow. And so I feel like if we can apply this as a people, I think one of the things we said on Sunday is Kenya's borrowing, Kenya's savings rate is 0.23%. And that's not the country, that's like individuals. As a nation, we save 0.23% of our income.
Wow.
Not 20% like we should, not 2%, but 0.23%. And I'm sure it's pretty similar in many countries that are watching this. And so how do we move as God's people, lead our nations in just being different? Joseph was a man of God and he led his nation in being different.
Wow.
And we can start to do that in our businesses, in the places we work, to actually think different. So that's kind of what this whole story was about. And I just thought maybe today we can talk a bit about how we save and as groups. I mean, because I know you guys, as a discipleship group, we've talked about saving before, and we've talked about some of the things we're doing practically in our homes. I mean, for Kara and I think as we've grown older, we just, I mean, like I talked about, we always used one salary and we saved the other. And so we had a very aggressive savings strategy right from when we were young. What that meant is we always lived way lower than what we could afford, because then to the eyes of the world, it looked like we're earning half of what we had. But that's because we decided we're going to, anytime we're working, two of us would save one salary. And usually we saved the bigger one, because that time our lives were simple, no kids, you can afford to.
No high school fees.
No high school fees, but that's when people really splurge, by the way.
Yeah.
Many young people, the millennial, this is when guys eat.
Yeah, you
This is when you're in Dubai, you're off to the Taj Mahal, you're where with your people, Naivasha for goats. I'm not looking at anyone in the room. But Kikope. That's when people do those things. But actually, because of good mentors, we avoided some of those lifestyle decisions. So I feel like what that has done for us, it created a huge buffer.
It did.
On the long term. And that has allowed us to do some pretty impressive things. Because now that money didn't just sit in saving, but we had something, you save it and bulk it, and then you have something to invest.
Yeah.
So even till today, we still do the same.
Yeah. Actually, we're still on one
We
salary.
still live on one, I mean, we still live on,
Well,
right, well now we only have one salary.
salary.
But even now, I mean, because of, right now we're in our 50s, because we were able to keep doing that, we were able to invest in things that have allowed us now to gain passive income.
Yeah.
So even though Pastor Kara is the one who gets paid a salary, I don't, I'm still able to, through the investments we have, get some return that matches what I would have had if I was working. So that's how this thing works. I mean, at first you look very foolish because everybody around you is wearing nicer clothes, driving bigger cars, living in a nicer place.
Yeah.
But I guess our testimony is, in the end, it actually balances out.
It does.
And you actually have lived an easy life, you're not stressed, and you actually can enjoy life now. When for a lot of people, as they're approaching retirement, panic is kicking in.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so I think that's been our story. But we'd love to hear from the rest of you, because I know you all have amazing stories. So maybe we'll start with Pastor Angie. But you guys also, I mean, I've always admired you guys, because you've always saved, and the both of you have always been pretty good at it. You did forced savings.
Yes, so I'll start with how I started. So I started when Mavuno, I think it was one of the money series at Bellevue back in the day. So I was an intern and I think no income. And then, I think I was PT1 or PT2. So after someone said, just get saving. So what I did is I went, there used to be advisors, I met a financial advisor. And then I went and started saving with a company, and they started me off at 2,500 shillings.
Every month.
Every month. And so that was it. They were like, you can afford this, just start saving monthly. And I think after 3 years or so, 2 years or so, when I immediately got an increment, the first thing I did was increase it.
Wow.
So I matched whatever amount I should have been giving for those years and then increased it, and then I've been doing that for all our lives. So by the time we met, he also was on one, had I think it's called life insurance or something, and then you're saving we separated our saving. So that was our first saving. That just changed the game for me, so that now I know a certain amount of money gets out of the bank and I have to plan my life around that.
Yeah.
And so by the time we met and now he brought in, 20% savings and all those things, it was an easier adjustment just because we had that. So even for some reason, even we realized today, actually we save more than 20% because I don't even count it.
Wow.
Because it exits my account immediately. Yeah.
And Nick, you're Mavuno's accountant, so
Come on. Yeah.
your story better be good.
Let me start with part of the reason, I think, because we were part of the people who were in the 0.23. Most people normally save after expenses.
Yes.
You don't start with the income. So you wait until you do your expenses, then you're like, I'll do the 20% of the net.
Of what's left.
Yeah. So what changed for us was the 20% of all the income coming out first. Meaning we had to make some harsh decisions, like moving out of Nairobi to Athi River. Those were some of the things that spoke into our saving culture and investing culture.
Yeah.
Because whatever we were paying in Nairobi, we could get almost half of it in Athi River and still commute. And luckily, I think God was with us. We brought an expressway. So it was easy for us. Now, and since we come up to Nairobi on Sundays mainly, we don't need, and Sundays there's no traffic. So that worked out for us. But for me, personally, saving started when I was quite young. My parents taught me how to save. But I think where I feel like I should have been taught a little better, I was being taught to save for things I want. So, and I know even many people right now, they do that. They'll save for a car.
Yeah.
Which I normally call that's not an investment unless you're making it a cab that is bringing you income.
Let's be honest, you were saving for PS.
Come on.
PlayStation.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so I was saving.
But at least you're saving.
Yes.
For her hair.
So also having that mindset change that I can save for investment, because as you even taught us many times, saving won't make you wealthy.
Yeah.
Reducing your expenses won't make you wealthy.
Yeah.
You have to invest. Your money has to be, we normally say it in our house, it has to either be passive or active, one of the two. Yeah, so with that, that's how now. So by the time I was even getting into that life assurance program, I wasn't putting in the money that I can save. I was even putting in more so that it strains me a little more.
Yeah.
Because it was the money I used to, for the people who had the Naivasha trips, that was us. So it was the money we were saving for those trips. The fuel, if you put the fuel, if you put the food, if you put the swimming and everything. So all that money would collect it, and then in the month, I send it.
Wow.
So I'd rather stress myself. Like how she knows, when she met me, I used to eat food from the street. And then I'd have a plastic plate so that I eat and throw, so that I don't have to wash dishes, so that I save on water. Yeah. So such things. But then now when we look back at it, and it gave us some returns. It has given us returns twice. So when you look at it, and then it's those surprise ones because you forget. Then at some point you're getting an email and a call. Oh, by the way, we are sending you this amount of money, and it's coming at this date. Yeah, so
wow.
for us actually
So I think the two things I've loved about that story is, number one, both of you learned forced savings. So it's not savings after expenses. It's like the savings go out first. That's a very essential principle in finance management. And then the second one was, I love what Nick added, where it's like I try to save where it even stretches me, like a little more than I should, than I could. So that you're actually left with a little less, and you have to struggle a little bit, because what that does, it creates a discipline, but then you're really building into your future. And I mean, I've seen you guys do some great investments, and admired that at your young age, simply because of the wisdom that you've had. Not everybody got a head start like you started when they're young, but I mean, it's exciting to see, guys. And I think when I hear a lot of people here are watching in their 20s and 30s, it's like, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. So okay, now for Albu and Sheila, you guys are a little older, and also business income, which is a lot more erratic. How's your story been?
Okay, I think for me, I would start by saying that during my young age, when I knew her, she was the better saver, because I actually when I get money, I'm the person that I want to invest and do something with it. So she was the one who was actually keeping the money, and in case I need to, sort of like we need to buy something, I could make some money somewhere, bring it to her. She keeps it until we get to the goal that we are going.
Yeah. So I think now we just came to realize the mistake we were making. We were just saving. So the money was not really helping us, because now when we need to buy something, or when we needed to pay fees, we would wipe out our accounts.
Yeah.
Or when we needed to sort out our parents, we'd wipe out their accounts. So we were wondering, what were we doing wrong? Until now we realized that we need to save for investments.
Yes.
And that's where now Moran came in. So now we are able to, like what Nick said, we didn't know that, because we would spend, then we would save after. Now when the money comes in, we put money aside. We send to Moran, who are helping us. We learned about them from Couples and Money. Yeah, so we give them all our records. Now when the money comes in, we save a bit, and some is put in the investment. So they keep giving, they keep sending us a statement, and we are just amazed. We're like, we should have started this a bit earlier, because we were saving, but not the right way. We just didn't know.
So, I mean, I think it's good that you're here, because you're representing a lot of people who are a little older, and maybe are just feeling, I wish I started earlier. But as you say, you're already seeing the results of just being diligent and putting it away. You know, I love what you say, that we're not just saving for saving's sake, that we're saving and then figuring out how to invest it so it's growing. But then you have to start with saving. You have to actually start by having a habit of saving, so then you have something to invest. So I've loved that you guys have actually now aggressively now begun to work in that way.
And just to say that it's been really painful, because we are those people who tunaambia mwili pole. For those who don't understand, is we work so hard, then we want to get to a place where we are like, you guys, let's eat. In fact, can I share this story?
Please, share.
We could actually take a loan. Like if we take a loan of 100,000, we'd be like, look, Albu, take 10K, I take 10K, do whatever you want with it. Then after that, now the 80,000 that is remaining is what we'll do what we wanted. Because we kept saying, we made so many mistakes, we lost a lot of money. So we're like, at least when we are paying the loan, or if we lose the money, we'll say we did something for ourselves. So we did so many stupid, silly things that if we reflect back, we wouldn't even want our kids to do the same. So
let's call it your degree.
It is our degree.
Now you can pass on wisdom to the next generation.
We can.
But at least now we are learning with even our firstborn son. We took him to college to do finance, so he's also been helping us with what we're supposed to do with the finances.
Come on.
We even introduced him to Moran. So when we had the first meeting with Moran, our son was also involved.
Fantastic. Well, if you have questions, by the way, as you hear the stories from these wise men and women, please put them on the group. We'd love to see what you're thinking, how you're processing. If you have your own testimony about your own savings journey and how that has been, would love to hear your thoughts as well. But again, remember, we're talking about the fact that I really believe this is a season where God wants us to enter an economic revolution. And some of these things, they may look like basic things, they may not look like spiritual things, but these are the ways that God helps us position ourselves to become the people he can use in the economic realm. So, Pastor Mills, what's your story, and Vivian been? You talked about you guys have kind of had an experience where things did not work out, but you had something that protected you because of
saving. In fact, following these guys, I'm like, wow. What do you expect me to say? I felt like running away when these guys were sharing their big stories. Probably it's because, for me, I'm the spender. I'm the generous guy. I give until there is nothing to give. And my wife is the saver. She knows how to save. As in, give Vivian very little money. She will keep something out of it, and a lot, not just something small. So you can imagine we've been on one income for almost 14 years. And then it happens that we had a habit of saving 10% as emergency and 20% forced saving. And this one we learned through Couples and Money when you invited us in the very, very first cohort. And we started saving, and we thought we were doing very well. There was this emergency account that we thought was growing, and the 20% forced saving was also growing. Then we got into a situation sometime last year and our medical budget just skyrocketed. And it was crazy because though we have a medical policy at work, the insurance does not pay for certain conditions beyond a certain amount of money. So we had to wipe out our emergency fund, and it started eating into the savings. And by February, it was very clear that we cannot continue that way, because now we couldn't even do the forced saving, because it had to go into the medical facility for my wife. But the interesting thing is we had to scale down. So we moved houses to a far much smaller house, not the same kind of environment. And for the first time since now September last year, this month was the first month we could actually have the forced saving kick in, and the emergency fund again come back to life. Which is also in a roundabout way a free the future testimony, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, we've gotten out of that kahole. Nick could know better. He's the one whom I was crying out to and seeking advice and help here and there.
I love that.
Yeah, so I think that's where we are at right now. And I think with our age, because again, if you're there and you're feeling old, I believe there's time to do some of these things. And you just start where you are. And what I noticed is if you are married, who between the two of you can document stuff, can write down stuff, can trace where the money goes. For us, when I handed over these things to Vivian, including the ATM card, freedom came. Freedom came.
You trusted her to be the one to manage.
Yes, she's very good at that. Otherwise, if I continued myself, I think we would not have been in a good space. So I had to put down pride and ego and just say, that's not my forte. Someone else can do that better than me. Yeah.
Now, what I love about Pastor Milton's story is, number one, for him, just being able to recognize within his family, I'm just not the one who should be managing accounts and letting his spouse be the one who carries that piece. But then also something you say that I think is pretty radical, because many times we're trying to save and we can't. And sometimes it's circumstantial, but then you have to actually take some radical steps to get to the place where you can actually begin to free up resources. Now, next week, we'll talk about some how-tos. We're going to start talking about how to actually make some of these steps. But you shared one where you talked about the fact that you actually cut down your expenses radically by making a change in where you lived.
Yeah, and it's really worked out well for us, Pastor Moredi, because you can imagine I drove 73 kilometers every day to and from work. Right now, I'm 1.5 kilometers away from work.
So you actually moved closer, so your fuel bill is low.
Exactly.
Which is a good thing in this season.
Yes. Service moments. I get to 5,000 kilometers now. Probably it will take me a year or so to get to 5,000 kilometers. I used to get to the 5K service mileage every 50 days. So you can imagine.
Rent reduction.
That one we should not even say. Because right now we are probably paying a quarter of what we were paying before, minus service charge for there. Yes. In fact, we are actually paying a little less than service charge on the other side. Yes.
So, guys, we're really saying you have to take charge. You can sit there praying and hoping things change, or you can actually say, and yes, pray for sure, but then take some radical steps that allow you then to be able to save. And don't sit there and say, I'm a victim, I'm not earning much. But what can you do to actually free up resources so you can actually begin to save? Somebody asked, who is Moran? It's a group of financial advisors that when all these couples have taken Couples and Money, they've done Couples and Money, the program that Pastor Kara and I wrote. It's a financial literacy program for couples. And so they're a group of financial advisors that we partner with to give free financial advice to the graduates of that program, just for those who are asking. But take charge of your situation. Now, somebody says, Bushi, Jaga, she says, I've been a recipient of Pastor Milton's generosity. Wow. Bless your heart, Pastor Milton.
Come on.
May what you give come back to you 100-fold.
Yeah.
And I know that there are many people who've been there who Pastor Milton has been a blessing. And it's a blessing to be generous, by the way. This is always a great thing. It's just that what he's learned is he needs a spouse who is able to help him save, because you can actually give everything away, and then that's not responsible financial wisdom either. So I think we want to save so that we can be generous. If you give it all away and there's nothing left to be generous, then you really can't help people. And so I think the wisdom of Pastor Milton was being able to understand, yes, I need to be generous, and I'm sure you add value in that way to your marriage, but then to be able to say, let me lean on my spouse to help me then to make sure that we have buffers that we can keep growing. And then Lynette says, saving does not make you wealthy. That's true. Come on. Shout out to Pastor Godwin, the light DG there. And so some good comments there. Yeah, Pastor Godwin, you guys are what's your story?
Yeah,
you and Noel. Yeah.
So Noel and I, we got married in 2018.
Come on.
Come on.
Newlyweds.
Newlyweds. Back then, and so our approach to financial management was kaende, which
translated
means let go and let God. It is what it is. Tomorrow will worry for itself. But I think having done Couples and Money and also redid Ndoa, we actually learned from Pastor M and Pastor Caro that we need to live on one salary. So one of the things we did was we would use my salary as, for the daily, monthly expenses. But then Noel's salary would save completely. All of it would save after tithing. And so beginning 2020, we were very aggressive on saving.
Wow.
Noel's salary after tithing. And so that year, which was the year when COVID struck, by August there's an opportunity that came up to buy land, and most of us actually took advantage of that in Mwingi. And so we had surplus, we had a buffer to buy land, to invest.
Yeah.
Then Noel, sometime last year also, she stepped out of work, which meant now we are still living on one salary. So it didn't destabilize our monthly expenses.
Yeah.
However, it affected our savings because now our savings shrunk to below 20%. But we still continued saving. And so last year we still managed with the buffer that we had to get into farming. Nice. And I think we shared this story a while back that farming did some character development on us. But we got a degree, like in Pastor Sheila and Albu, we got a degree. Yeah. But at least that consistency came. So what we are doing even beginning this month is to ensure, even with the one salary, that we still push it to 20% minimum. But now, even with future investments and whatever we do, we want to continue living on one salary. Whether the income increases or not, we will still continue living on the one salary and save the rest.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I guess what these guys show is just the power of starting early.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're like, we started from the day one and we're just pushing. And I mean, it's just a recipe for wealth.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a challenge, you invested in something that didn't work as well.
Yeah.
But the beauty is you didn't take a loan.
Yes.
Because the problem for many people is that investment would have burnt you and then you'd still be paying for it today.
Yes. Yeah.
But you had a buffer to be able to experiment with. Yeah. And now you're rebuilding your buffer and you'll still be able to take risks.
Yeah.
But then also I like the fact that you are wealthier. You had two salaries. But even when one went, you're still committed to to the challenge of we're still going to live on 80% save 20%.
Yeah.
So it's doable, guys. It's really doable. These are your pastors. I mean, we're not the highly paid people of Mavuno Church, if I can put it that way. But if this team here can do it, we can. We actually can. Every single one of us. And we wanted to just model that. So Pastor James, you guys have had a long story in this.
So we've been living on one income, just because we've been on one income
Yeah.
pretty much since just before we got married.
At one point, you guys were even fundraising. 'cause
Yes,
you were in Lusaka. There was no
we were
budget
church
to support
planting.
you.
Oh my
Like,
goodness,
dude,
it's
you've
such
been-
a long story. Yeah, I mean we've been at the place where when we were leading the church plant in Lusaka, all the church could afford was to give us about 20,000 shillings each, in a city that's way more expensive than Nairobi.
Yeah.
And so we've been extremely. We've always been in very tight financial situations, I think, since we got married. But maybe the two things I'd highlight for this conversation are that first, when my wife was an intern, she got into one of those savings investment vehicles where you put cash or you put money away every month. And I mean, and so either you keep going with it or you lose the money.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we committed to was to keep going, and we actually needed to raise support for it because at some point we didn't even have the bandwidth in terms of our personal budget and our income to make those payments. But we raised that support, and every month that is what it has done.
Even when you're fundraising because you
Yeah.
didn't have enough income,
Yes.
you still
we were fundraising
always
to
still
save.
put money into your savings
Yeah,
first.
we're fundraising to
And
save.
That's insane.
And it's a powerful story because we got the challenge for the Free the Future campaign end of last year, and for the first time in our lives, by the way, we had always desired to give first fruits. We weren't quite clear how to do it, and we did give some big gifts, and then this year we sort of got some clarity of just give your January salary, your January income, and that can be your first fruit. And it sort of just clicked, oh, okay, that simplifies things, and it can be a system. And so I remember when, around the time when we were giving that, our Free the Future contribution, our first installment, I remember finding my wife, she'd gotten this text telling her, there's a payout coming from that investment. Wow. And so in this year, part of what that investment, because it's what Nick and Angie were saying, where you even forget, you don't know what the timelines are, you're no longer you're not expecting it. And we're just like, oh my gosh. So after we had given our Jan income, it made it possible. That's part of how we footed our bills for Feb. That's part of how God provided by faith. So I think that's a big part of just that story, is that I think it just started with a commitment. We desired to save, we committed to save. And so even when this extra income came, after we raised support for it, every month we have made sure that that's where it has gone.
Wow.
I don't know that we've ever defaulted. It didn't matter how tight things were. We were stressing about other things, but we knew we have this amount of money waiting to go into that vehicle.
Wow.
So I think that's the first highlight. The second highlight is that in the first, I think, 2 years of our marriage, my goodness, and we were broke, but we became landowners.
Come on.
Yeah, and it happened in an interesting way. Those of you who've been in Mavuno for long, you know that we had like a season where we had so many staff members getting married.
Yes.
Around that 2011, 2012 season. And Mbushi, who's just commented there, is one of those people. Hi, and Mike Jagger.
Yep.
And someone pulled us together and said, when we were all dating and courting, and they said, guys, we are all in the same season. Why don't we come together and see if there's a way we can sort of help one another, plan for the weddings and so on and so forth, and all the family meetings. And we're like, oh, yeah, let's do that. And then we realized in the months ahead, we're all getting married within about a year. And so in the months ahead, we all had either family visits, dowry payments and so on, all the way to the weddings.
Wow.
And so we said, since all these things will cost money, why don't we start doing a monthly contribution? And so we started contributing 5,000 shillings per couple. And then what we did is we did the merry-go-round thing. We call it a merry-go-round in Kenya, which is, one couple, you all bring your money to the table, and then there's a couple who get it every month, and, it rotates as a cycle.
Yep.
And so what happened is the month when I have my dowry payment would be the month I receive it. The other month, the other guy has something, and so on. And so we went through the cycle, and then eventually, we'd sort of finished the cycle, and we'd all gotten married. And I remember someone just saying, but guys, if we've been doing this thing, why don't we just keep at it?
Wow.
Since we've been doing it. And so we kept up that 5,000 shillings monthly payment with this group of couples Now it was for savings because, the weddings had passed. And so that's how we became landowners. We own about 5 acres of land somewhere. I remember by the time we needed to complete the payments, because I think we were all so broke.
Yeah.
I remember, we were under pressure from the person who was selling the property to finish our payment, and we were running helter-skelter, trying to figure out how to bring the final, I think it was like 40K for me and Dorcas. And, it felt astronomical. But in our first 2 years of marriage, we were landowners.
Come on.
Yeah. So
Even we didn't have land in our first 2 years of marriage. That's impressive.
We had love.
We had lots of love. We had lots of love, but no land. Well, guys, you're hearing your pastors. I mean, we're just being real. We're just sharing some of our stories, the things we've learned. And I guess one of the things I want to say is, we can do it. We can do it. The world teaches us, and they use very impressive words. When you get into the world of finance, people talk about arbitrage, they talk about leverage, they talk about OPM, other people's money. It sounds so impressive.
Wow.
And what they're really saying is borrow, and it's like live today for tomorrow. It's like, no. There's something we learned from one of our Pentecostal friends.
Size part-time.
He used to call it size part-time. I don't even know how he got that English. I think it's Nigerian. But it's like there's a size part-time.
Yeah.
There's a way that even your plate for now is for now. Tomorrow I'll have another size, And actually it really helped us to just understand, just because I don't have a nice car today, doesn't mean I won't have one tomorrow. Just because I can't eat in the restaurant I want to today, doesn't mean I can't tomorrow. And the thing is, I'm actually hoping one of the family nights this month will dedicate it to having a conversation about millennials and money. Because I feel like for millennials who are listening, it's very easy, and Gen Zers to feel, us guys, retirement is far.
Yeah.
It's like this stuff is not relevant. YOLO, like live once. But you know what? This thing is so sad.
Don't say you are young.
It's so sad because I was where you are yesterday. It's like you always think you'll never grow old. And you always think by the time you get to 50, you'll be so finished, there'll be no fun to have. So let's have it now. You think the guy who's 50 is about to die. But actually, I'm not about to die, guys. Unless the Lord has our plans. I've got another many years, and we're going to have fun. But it's because of the decisions we made when we were younger. And so this thing is relevant for every single person. I mean, as we're talking, it's not like we've all made, I'm sure you guys haven't made perfect decisions. There's some foolish decisions we've made along the way, or we've seen around us. Pastor Kara, you want to share a couple of foolish?
Yes. Okay, I think for me, it is something that I saw in my family. You see, for us, we are of the persuasion of enjoy. Enjoy. And
money is there to be enjoyed.
Money is there to be enjoyed. And basically, I think that was my mom's philosophy. And I could see her really, really struggling with my dad, who was very, very structured. And I think he was on the other side where he really didn't enjoy much. And so...
Which is the opposite side.
Which is the opposite side. And so, but when he passed on, there are some decisions that she made. And I was like, wow, la, 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 that's what... I mean, my dad... She made some decisions, and I later on came to realize that, there were decisions that could easily jeopardize her financial...
Her own retirement.
Yeah, her own retirement. I was like, oh my God, this is what my father used to say, So at that point, I really came to appreciate to appreciate those who are more conservative than I am. Yeah, i.e. like you now.
That's what she's saying. That's where this is heading.
Yes. But I still feel, it's good to save.
Yeah.
And it's good to, to do
and you know what I feel is, like, you'll always find that, it's not, I'm not saying don't enjoy life.
Yeah.
But budget it.
Yeah.
That's where, have a plan for it. So you're able to say 5% of our budget is going to go towards
recreation,
or whatever it is, a small percent. I mean, make it, it's like, at the beginning, it might just be that you have 1,000 shillings that we go out.
Yeah.
And
just
we do ice cream. And we used to do those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll go out, we'll eat at home, then we'll go out and have
a nice ice cream.
What's that ice cream? Go to a nice ice cream joint and just...
Like, remember how for Valentine's we went to, I don't know where.
Hemingway's.
No, before Hemingway's. We went for some nyama somewhere.
Yeah. So we went a joint, had our meat, then went to Hemingway's for dessert. Come on, somebody. Hemingway's is expensive.
Yeah.
But you know what? We had the fun.
It was
but
so
somebody else
nice.
went and had their full meal there.
Yeah, and it was so good.
So I think there are little things that we've learned just the hard way because of so we're not saying like we are like we can still have fun,
Yeah.
but not jeopardize our future in the process.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has another foolish thing that they've. Nick, you have a foolish thing that you've done or seen? Yeah, maybe you can.
Ours is even very recent. Not okay. Well, it was in 2020 when COVID began. We got our salary at the end of, it started in March, I think April.
Yeah.
We got our salary in April, and then we got some extra money. But because we hadn't, you know, when you don't plan,
Yep.
life plans for you. So we ended up making some, well, she called them silly purchases. That's the time I ended up buying a PS4, a board game. Because you know now, you know now we're in the house. We are not going anywhere. We're in the house.
You
So
might as well get some entertainment.
yeah, and then now, and then unfortunately the PS4 doesn't operate as a vacuum. It needs games.
Of course.
So you enter the internet, you buy games and buy games.
Yeah.
By the time I was sitting down to calculate how much I'd spent between April 26th and I think May 5th, I think I would have bought a cheap second-hand car with what I had done with the money in that period. And the only tangible thing was the Xbox and the PlayStation and the games. The other things were just...
Which you can't trade for a car.
Yeah. Anything I see on the internet, I was shopping there. Can I buy this? Can I buy this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's crazy, because and I think I'm glad you shared that example, because the one thing you have that many people don't have is you're able to calculate, because you're an accountant. So he was able to actually say, let me calculate the foolishness of my mistake. And it's sobering when you realize, a car. I could actually have a car if... to tell her that...
I went through my M-Pesa statements from the moment I started withdrawing from the bank.
Yeah.
And then looking at the balance in the bank and then looking at what I'd spent, I was... Even now she stayed awake for a while. She was...
we could have a car, second...
And then I hadn't even given her the charges of M-Pesa. That was just the money I just transferred.
The cash that left your account.
So it was like, if you don't plan for... If right now you don't have a plan, even when money comes and you start saying that if God gives me 10 million, this is what... If you don't have a plan, if you get that 10 million, you still won't do what you are.
That's what this series is about. Money walks. Money is always walking, and it's always walking towards the person who has a plan for it. So if you have no plan, just understand your money will always walk away to somebody else. And you know, it's small things. It could be just that cup of coffee you buy on your way to work every day. When you start doing your calculations, when you start tracking your resources, you're able to realize, my goodness, this money, I could do something useful with this. I could buy some gear for my business. I could do something that would actually bring value as opposed to being a consumer. And so I think that's such a powerful thing that you shared. I'm glad you shared that one. Yeah, Pastor Sheila, you look like you have one that you really want to share.
We have many. We have many. So there's a time, I can just share one. There's a time we had put aside some good money as a family. And then someone commented and said, you know, that as lawyers don't know how to invest, we don't take risks. So we wanted to prove them wrong. So we took all our money. It was almost 800K and put it into Bitcoin.
Wow.
We lost
to prove that you know how to invest.
We lost everything.
Ouch. Okay, sorry, we should even laugh. That's painful.
Wow.
Nowadays
That's
we can
a
laugh
lot
about
of
it,
money.
but those days it was
painful.
yeah, and you know, we did like what Nick says, it wasn't planned. As we
Yeah.
just wanted to prove, because that's what the person came with, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Like, Nini Kwanza, you just, like me there, we are not risk takers, so we wanted to show
That I can
we can
take a
actually
risk.
invest. And we didn't even do our research. We didn't find out what was going on, what to expect. So we put all that money and we are still recovering.
Now, guys, you're watching, some of you are laughing at them, some of you are laughing with them, because you know you've been there. And all of us, at some point or the other, we find ourselves in a place where we are gambling and we call it investing. Because you haven't taken the due diligence, you have not taken time to understand it.
Yeah.
And I remember, just the pyramid schemes, how many people, there's one that they'd ask for your pastor to sign. And I remember guys would come to me at Mavuno and say, Pastor, sign. And I say, I can never sign rubbish like that. And I made enemies. People are like, you don't want us to be rich. You've succeeded, you know. But let me just tell you, if you don't understand the investment, you have no business investing in it. So you just have to sit and ask somebody. And I've learned not, it's that thing of, let me just be foolish and ask.
Yeah.
Just explain to me like a child, how does this thing work?
Yeah.
So that I'm able to be convinced that, Because if it doesn't make sense to me that I
Yeah.
can understand how that money became 1 shilling became 10 shillings,
Yeah.
then I don't invest in that.
Yeah.
And so thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that.
good
Again, as we're
principle.
talking about savings, that's a huge risk that Pastor Sheila has pointed out. It's possible for you to build your savings and then lose them all because you didn't take time to invest in financial literacy. And that's a huge, huge one that we need. That's such a good thing.
So good.
There's some great lessons in the
learning.
house, guys.
For
Yeah,
learning.
may God soothe you
Amen.
and may He repay to you what the locust
Amen.
stole.
Oh my goodness.
What Bitcoin stole. Yeah. And you know, it's you always hear people talk about big things. You know, it's
Yeah.
like Bitcoin, it's
Yeah.
Forex.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you understand it? Have you taken a course in this thing?
Yeah.
Like, how smart are you
Yeah.
that you can actually make money? Because I always tell people, if it was that easy, Safaricom would change what they're doing
Yeah.
and
And
invest in that. They have the
exactly.
money. Why are they investing in what they're investing in and
Exactly.
getting less than what you think you're going to get out of this? So it's always like understand that opportunity. Yeah, so thank you for that. Any other stories before we conclude? Anybody else want to share a sob story, a challenge story? The rest of you look like you're so smart. Like,
Is it about smartness? Probably it's the way you asked the question.
oh,
any
no, just
mistake?
a mistake or
I think for me, it's the mistake of thinking that I know.
yeah.
And I think this goes with temperaments. You know, being a
choleric,
choleric,
yes.
I'm like, I know what I need to do, how I need to do it, when I need to do it. And when you are married to a flag, it's like you
Push your way.
you push your way because she's taking a lot of time to process and she's not a
Yep.
computer.
Yep.
As in, it's just that place where you're wondering, why are you thinking a lot? You know, if it needs to be done, let's do it. Yeah, just do it. Nike, you know. Hey, that's when you understand, oh, your temperament affects how you relate with money. And for me, it didn't help that I came to discover, again, through Couples and Money, I think it was like the second lesson that I discovered, wow, Yani, I've been a lone ranger, I've been abandoning this chick in my decisions,
Yeah.
and I've made a mess of our money simply because I thought I knew, yet I didn't understand that the mistakes I was making, my temperament drew me to think that I could engage certain spaces
Yeah.
even without her.
Yep.
And I burnt my fingers and wasted the family resource.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But, yeah.
Maybe to add on what you said, Pastor Milton, about cholerics and flags, I'm a flag. But what I've realized is whenever I decide to do sort of like a biashara just out of nowhere, it doesn't work out. So I take my time to think about something. It will take like a whole 3-4 months, but whenever I invest in that thing, it works. So that's what I've actually realized. on
So,
my
so what you're saying, listen to your
Yeah.
spouse.
Yeah.
They may be slow.
Be partners.
Yeah.
Sit again.
Like
They,
Like-
they may
like-
they may
like-
look like they're slow,
Yeah.
but there's a value that they're adding.
like I can give you an example. There's a time I went to Shags and with my Noah. So I decided when I'm going back, let me do this. Let me buy these pots and go and sell. You know, that is just something I thought abruptly when I was coming back to Nairobi. I only sold one
You had a lot
one
of pots
pair.
in the
Otherwise,
house.
the other 6 have them. in my house. Listen,
They're still in the house.
so I think I'll just gift them to you guys.
Yeah. Bring the pots. We're happy to receive them. So again, it's saying understand that you don't have all the strengths.
Yeah.
So equip yourself, but also learn from others who don't have those strengths. Now, somebody talked about equipping ourselves, and this is something I really want to keep pushing on us, guys. Let's equip ourselves. You know, the Bible says, "Be as wise as serpents and innocent as doves." Yes, we need to become we need to be innocent in the ways of the world, but we also need to be wise because the people of the world, they understand how to multiply resources. They may not do it the way that we're supposed to do it, but there's wisdom God has given us in the Scripture that we must apply. And so let's become well educated. There are courses. You've had people here talk about couples and money. Somebody asked, is there a course for what did he say? For those who are still in that stage of it is not good for man to be alone. What a way to put it. Yeah, there are courses for single people. There's a great course called Straightforward Financial Growth by Moses Ukisa. And there are quite a few Mavunites who've taken that course and who are even facilitators in it. There is Centonomy, which is run by Washuka, a friend of ours. You can find those online. And those are all courses that you can actually take. They're books There are great books out there that you can read. I've written a couple of those books, Financial Fitness, Financial Foundations. They're basic, but they're useful and very helpful. There's books like Straightforward Financial Growth, again, by Apostle Moses Mukisa. There's Rena Hicks has written Money Wise. She's a member of Mavuno Downtown. She's written Money Wise, a great book. And those are I'm just talking about local books. And those already, by the way, just read those already and you already got a head start. But there are other great books out there that you can read. And I can put a reading list and we can. I really want to challenge us to choose to become financially educated. There's nothing unspiritual about becoming wise financially. So this season, that's what we're going to be doing. I mean, we're coming to the end. Man, this has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Listening to you guys and learning from your experiences and stories and just seeing how we can grow. One of the things I'm excited about is in my discipleship group, I'm convinced everybody here is going to be wealthy. And it's because of the decisions we're seeing them make as we hold them accountable. All of us track our finances. I talked about the fact that we all track our finances. We have an app, what do we call it?
Home budget.
Home budget. And all of us use it. And it's great because as couples, we all input. So she inputs, I input. And we're able to keep track of our finances together. It's one of the ways that we keep each other accountable, to be able to say, when somebody says, I'm saving 20%, they actually know that they are. They're not just thinking they are, because it's there so we're keeping each other accountable. We share investment opportunities when we come across them, because we want to make sure that we're all moving forward as a group and leave no one behind. I want to challenge you as a group today, as you have your conversation in the discipleship group. Have this kind of conversation. Let's be open. What have you done? First of all, go around the group and ask, are you saving at least 20%? Tell us your saving story. And then let's talk about the mistakes we've made so that the older can teach the younger, and vice versa. And so that we're able to come up to a place where we're coaching one another in understanding the ways of money. And I believe that as we do this, my goodness, this is the economic revolution is about to start. That God is about to break out. Financial stress and anxiety is about to be a thing of the past in this congregation. We actually have I don't know if it was announced on Sunday, but we actually have on our website now, we have an opportunity for those of you who have jobs in the congregation. If you work in HR, or maybe you're just in a place where you see good job opportunities in your company, share them. Start in your DG, and if there's nobody there, there's a site there. It says it's jobs.mavunochurch.org. Jobs, jobs.mavunochurch.org. Just go online and list that job up there, post it up there, and let people in the family. This is not something, by the way, don't advertise this to all your people out there in Sharks. This is actually something for the community. We want to provide jobs for our people in Mavuno Church. And so let's create a platform where we can actually start to share resources, because we want to make sure every single person, even those who don't have income, have some income, so that then we can now start becoming good stewards with the resources we have. I believe the problems we're going to have are going to be very different kinds of problems. God is going to be testing us to see how good we are at managing money as He brings it our way. And that's my prayer for every single one of us. So guys, it's been real. This has just been such a great family night. Remember, 25th, we're going to be in Kigali. Any of you who is able to make your way there, talk to your campus pastor. Would love to find out. And then Berlin. Maybe your work can take you to Berlin. 1st of October, we're going to be there, and we're going to be doing a full day gathering there as well, and we're really looking forward to it. But in the meantime, there's a gathering coming to a campus near you, and that's going to be really fun. I'm glad this week we've resumed our 4:30 prayers. Come on, somebody. So please, if you've not been coming for 4:30 prayers, let's start tomorrow, and let's just make this a habit that we're growing in prayers. And then this coming next 2 weeks, we're finishing this financial series, Money Walks. It's such a great series to bring your friends to. By the way, this series, it's a great outreach series. So if you're going to church, grab your neighbors, grab your office mates, just bring them to church with you on Sunday. And then invite people for family night, to watch family night with you, and maybe even join your DG and have these conversations. These are real conversations, and every single person needs to have them. So without further ado, we just want to say it's been so much fun. Pastor Caro, I just want to say a blessing over us, a mom's blessing as we conclude.
Father, we are so thankful for this time that we have had. And I thank you for the grace that is upon this house right now, which is of growing in our savings. Even as we go through this sermon series, it is for us to become wiser and for us to grow in our finances. And so I pray, Father, that even as we take these steps, that you will surprise us. you will surprise us with the things that you're going to enable us to do, that you're going to accelerate us in amazing ways, and that indeed you're going to distinguish us and differentiate us as people who are following and who are obeying you.
Yep.
We are thankful that this is indeed our portion. As we follow you, as we obey your word, then there is no option then for us to grow and for us to become prosperous. And so, Father, we receive that blessing, we receive that word with the commitment to follow you and to obey. For we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Woo. God bless you guys. Wow.
Amen.
So good. Amen. Oh, so good.
Let it begin. What if it all depended on me to change the world? Change the world. What if my only responsibility was to change the world? To change the world. Let me be the one to start a revolution. Let me sing my song to the people of the world. It all begins with one, the power of one, joining the hundreds of millions of people believing in one, the power of one. Don't hang around, stand up or sit down and believe we can change the world together. We can change the world together, you and I. Of luck can conquer disease and change the world, and change the world. What can I do to make poverty history and change the world, and change the world? Let me be revolution. Let me sing my song to the people of the world. Let me sing to the children of the world. It all begins with one, the power of one, joining the hundreds of millions of people believing in one, the power of one. Don't hang around, stand up or sit down and believe we can change the world together. We can change the world together. Please don't close your eyes, and please don't turn away. Let your voices rise and put love on display and make a difference now. Do you believe you and me can make a difference now? It all begins with one, the power of one, joining the hundreds and millions of people believing in one, the power of one. Don't hang around, stand up or sit down and believe we can change